FNRGFE are coming in as the underdogs.
All right, so let's get the predictions here. Let's make it official.
Okay, so they're talking about
#1
effects proficiency across all of Contenders, and how like last time we actually did a fairly good job of stuffing effect. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about it that effect is like the hard carry of Envy right now. Don't get me wrong, like their support, everyone on Envy is good, don't get me wrong. But effect is like honestly on another level. So the first time we faced in the regular season, the main goal was pretty much to just stuff effect and make sure he didn't do much. That's the goal, and we did like an alright job of that. Obviously, we could have done better, but a lot of that comes down to how the supports are working together and how Cool Matt does with stuffing him. Now, right before this, a lot of people heard about the Lucio jump bug that was banned, and that's actually a pretty big deal for our team. I think out of all the teams and Contenders that doesn't use Lucio that way with the scroll wheel, is Harry Hook, because he's not, the way he plays doesn't involve any like flashy Lucio plays, whereas Boink is really good at using those jumps and that speed to really stuff people and to get places on the map at specific timings, whether it's rotating to help Banny or rotating forward to the tank line, especially in like the Pharah comps. I think Boink's one of the Lucios that dies the least when doing Koth maps that have Pharah, because normally Lucio is like a pretty easy target to kill if you're just using the spacebar jump. If you are a Lucio that really wasn't big into using the scroll wheel, you're a lot easier to kill just because the scroll wheel gives you a lot more speed, a lot more mobility, and it's just harder to pin you down. So that's one of the reasons why we were one of the few reasons, many reasons why we were so good at Koth. And we found out that this was banned like, gosh, it was like 18 or 20 hours before this match. And so that actually hurt us quite a bit, because Boink had 1 day to readjust his playstyle, completely readjust it. And so that actually hurts us a lot, because Boink puts a lot of emphasis on protecting Banny against effect. And that was one of Lucio's main jobs in this meta, right? It was like between both supports and the D.Va, you would essentially nullify or just completely stuff the enemy tracer. And effect is like by far the hardest tracer to stop. So you have to commit like a good amount of resources to that. And with your Lucio kind of gimped, it's harder to do that. So specifically on these stats, like you look at the difference in like playstyle between effect and clockwork. Stats are a hard thing to, like in Overwatch specifically, are a hard thing to really use effectively to justify how well a player is doing, because the way that clockwork and effect play are very different tracer styles. You can say one way is correct or one way is not correct, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The big thing is just that all the components of the team, the way they work together, clockwork was a lot different than effect. Effect is he's gonna hide in really over aggressive spots, look for the one clip, look for 1v1, really aggressive to try to win those duels. And that's fine. That's a fine tracer play style. Clockwork's definitely like, I'm gonna work with my Winston or work with my Genji, depending on what comp it is, and really try to help take down targets and not just try to be like the person that takes over the game. So you have to think about like the different tracer styles and everything with those stats. So just a tidbit there as to why stats don't tell the whole story. And it's not just with tracer; it's with a lot of different ones. There's a lot of tanks that have a lot more kill participation because working together with their DPS more, or some are just pulling attention away. It's the stats. If you look at the stats with if you zoom out and look at them, you can kind of see a team's play style rather than just like this player's doing well, this player's not doing. Rant over. All right, let's get started here. The first map was Oasis. I I remember this. So we definitely knew that they would be playing Seagull on Oasis. There was absolutely no doubt in our mind. We scrimmed them once or twice, like the week before this when they had Seagull. We actually had no idea that Seagull was able to be subbed in until a few days before, because the Contenders website had an error and didn't actually update until before. So we couldn't tell whether Seagull was on it or not. We assumed he wasn't because it said he wasn't. And then suddenly he was. We had no idea. But even though that was the case, like it's pretty clear based on who they're playing what kind of playstyle they're gonna run. It's in this case it's really easy to tell, because obviously Seagull's not proficient at off tanks, whereas Mickey specializes in off tanks. So you know that Seagull it's going to be projectile heroes with Seagull. You know it's going to be tanks with Mickey. The difference here, like the one thing, if they are going to run an off tank, it would be Zarya, and it would be Effect running it, because he plays a very like aggressive, take over the game style Zarya. Otherwise, they'd be running triple DPS, which is something that they ran against us in scrims actually. And so we were prepared. We had an idea how we wanted to deal with it. On the 144 tick servers, actually, when we were playing on LAN, Soldier and Tracer and Sombra all felt stronger just because of the way that the hits register. It felt like the hits register more, the accuracy is better, which makes it a little easier to deal with Pharah. That was kind of our mindset going in. It's like we know that like Effect is either going to play Zarya or Tracer against us, and you know this comp is probably the best comp to open up with, until we figure out what exactly they're going to play, whether it's Zarya or whether it's Tracer. So yeah, like the main goal is if it's Tracer, you know, just stuff Effect long enough for us to kill Seagull, and then ideally with our divers between Muma and Clockwork, we can take Taimu and Coco's attention enough to where we can accomplish killing Seagull. That's kind of the way we went about it. Obviously, it's not like the only way that we go about it when we see it, but it's the main way that we go about doing it. So let's play it out here. I'm actually just gonna turn it low.
Yeah, when we spoke to FNRGFE, they kind of talked about their play style. Well, you'll have Muma go in front with Clockwork, like you were saying. Coolmat, his job is to really keep Bonnie alive. We'll see Bonnie at the beginning of the game.
Okay, so let's see how they start this. Okay, so in general, when people bring out Pharah here, they normally see if he gets a better camera angle here. Okay, this is fine. So normally, a Pharah is going to be working these windows here, and you rotate this way, arrow, and then back through the window, up and down here, and use this cover to take line of sight over here. And so you would basically have, let me use a different color, you basically have sight of this area here and all the way back here, and then you also can turn and pivot and cover the stairs. So you can save your conch to where if they do try to come, if the soldier has come up the stairs, you can conch them here, knock them off, or you can just siege them down here. And this is kind of what we were expecting, was them to work this angle. It doesn't necessarily hurt us that they didn't. We generally want to avoid this cubby down here. This is the no-no zone. So like our idea is first, like if you have a Sombra, the first thing they're going to do is take the pack. And then depending on the comp, depending on how they're running, depends on when you take the first fight. This is a timing thing, because it takes a couple seconds for somebody to get that pack, which means you cannot take the first fight right away. You can't. Otherwise, you'll just lose because your Sombra won't be in position. And so the goal is you get the first pack, then you rotate to where you're in position to get the second pack, and you re-anchor and take the fight after everyone's already regrouped. So I'll clear this out. Let's see how we actually did that. So we took high ground with our divers and got our soldiers set up here. We controlled that high ground, anti-separating, and now it's all about building EMP. I don't really know how Clockwork got low. I'm gonna assume he just got hit by Taimu. Because if you look at the ult percentages. Alright, so this is actually a really good, like, Envy played this really well. Normally, when people see a Sombra, like, the normal way that you counter Sombra is by hard engaging into her. And making sure sorry, I got it. Is you like hard engage into Sombra and making sure they don't have time to build that EMP. We actually were, that was like one win condition where we can manipulate that, because like with the comp that they have, you want to siege, like use long range, wait until Seagull gets like a really hefty rocket before you really hard engage with it. You also want to wait until Effect has like high energy and can 1v1 if he has to. They played this well, waiting here.
Nice rocket there from Seagull on a clockwork. He's going to have to back out just a little bit. Nobody has gotten control of the point just yet. It'll be Coco charging on.
So now they go in. Like we're a little bit low. I wish we could see how much energy Effect has, but like we almost have EMP. So Banny just translocated out. We lost clockwork. I don't remember if Coco died. So we traded. Like this is okay for us. But the fact that Effect just killed Coolmat is pretty bad. Effect effectively just got like 20% ult charge off Coolmat, which means he had to have decent energy. You look at him, yeah, he has pretty high energy right now. So that was good by them to wait until Effect had good energy before they hard committed, and they did. Banny actually used the EMP there, which that wasn't good. We probably should have waited because you're already 2.5 down. Okay. We come into this next fight. Effect already has his ult. He went from 50% to 100 in the cleanup, which he, between Coolmat and Muma, he basically farmed all of that. So they're gonna have Grav, they're gonna have Beat. So what you'll probably see is that they know that we EMP'd, which means Harry Hook is free to beat if he needs to, or at least through the next fight. So what'll I imagine, like, I don't exactly remember because it's been like a week since we played, but Buds will probably go for a visor play and they'll probably just beat it without worry. Okay, they like solo grabbed. Yeah, that really wasn't a good grab. That's actually like good for us. They barriered, they're low. We didn't even have to use visor. They just did, but they got res. So. They basically committed Grav and Barrage just to kill Coolmat. If we hadn't committed our visor, we would easily win this next fight. I think we actually do end up winning this one in this next fight because we have Beat. Like they'll have a Shatter and a High Noon. That's not like something we're super worried about. Okay, so facing. That's kind of like that was kind of cocky by Buds to like do a long range poke fight pre-map start or pre-fight start in the map. Hold on, I didn't see how Effect actually died. Where's Effect? He's on point right now. Pushes forward on that side. Yeah, he's overextended right now. So that was really dumb by Effect. That was good on us. Good on us to take advantage of that. Bud's running back. Which is now, they just EMP and they're just watching Taimu. Like, come on, guys. We have no idea what happened with this fight. Spectating team, please. Okay, let's see if we can see what happens from the wall. Okay, so he gets his EMP. We know he's about to EMP. So here he's running through the side. Let's see. Just runs through. All right, so we're getting rid of the EMP. So that's the EMP. It hits. Effect is dead.
Take out a player or two. EMP comes in from Bonnie, but there's nothing you can really do to defend against that. Pharah once.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty straightforward. We just went with ults because he didn't have any. Time he wasted his.
Able to get involved in the fight as he bit off a little bit more than he could chew on a flank attempt, and Chips was sort of occupied trying to get the McCree up.
Have bombs. Can't tell what Coco has. I assume he has. That looks like he has a shatter.
Target. They're finally in control. It's 82% for Envious now, and the ultimate situation isn't exactly stellar for FNRGFE. They really want an EMP to help them.
Okay, so right now, like, if they've gotten here already, this healthy, then we've already like failed our defense. Between Clockwork and Banny, they should be pressured enough to where if they ever touch point, they aren't at full health. But everyone's at full health. So that's kind of our fault for whatever reason. Muma just blocked that Earth Shatter, that charge, which is pretty good. Because obviously the mech is like super important in this comp. That was good. Good on Muma. He did it and lived. Okay, so now they're going to look for a Grav Barrage. Whereas we're going to be looking for an EMP. So the ideal EMP hits effect and it hits Chips. Because this is old Mercy, remember? This isn't new Mercy. He's going to hit it. It doesn't hit Chips. But it does hit effect, so effect just gets blown up. Right here. Yeah, I remember this fight, actually. This is one that I remember. Because he comes in and reses and they get a grab off afterwards. So they get two. Where the fight's still even. They didn't get anything off the grab. But Banny dying there is pretty bad. Like, he gets hit by a rocket and headshot at the same time. So like, depending on how fast we can farm this EMP, like depending on packs, we have no idea what the status of packs are right now. Hopefully that's a spectator thing in the future that we can, fix. But depending on health packs, you can farm this EMP with, pretty fast with the one in the middle, as long as they spread out. And so the EMP will come in late if it comes in at all. Now, and that's pressure off of Harry Hook. Like if Banny's up right now, the pressure on Harry Hook, means that they likely don't get a beat. Okay, so it actually, now that's bad. Because now Banny's just coming back and we don't have our soldier. Okay, so they're about to get. See that right there is like, that loses us. This is where we lose. So you look here, he's at 63%, EMP 90, and gets it right here. Now this is huge, okay, right here. So if Banny hits Lucio, this is automatically a one fight, no doubt about it. We win this because beat is like their only. Just look at the health bars. Our effective health is so much higher. Now, if they get the B off and we don't use EMP, then you can just counter it with EMP. So this is us not keeping track of beat, because Banny's probably just going, hey, I almost have EMP, I got EMP, let's use it, and he just uses it. So that's us not keeping track of beat. In whatever fashion, be it the team as a whole didn't call it out or didn't look for it, or Banny didn't hear it. It could be any number of things. This isn't like Banny's fault necessarily. Like it's a team game, it's a team decision. In the moment, like this fight's going on, been going on for a while. It's a high pressure situation. They're just focused on winning it. I can understand why Banny just uses the EMP. I think this is something that like in the future, Banny probably doesn't do. So definitely not concerned about it. But So there it comes out. They get the tanks, they get the tracer, but the beat comes out, so it's nullified. And now we're down ults. And us dying on the way out there. Yeah, that means that if we even get another fight, it's going to be super staggered. We're not going to get back in time. That's like super unlucky. Like that's not Clockwork's fault. You don't expect the McCree to be hiding there. He's just trying to touch. Clockwork's just trying to touch and get the clock going. That sucks. Because he also had a pulse, which is like can save the game. Not really his fault. That's
Something of note, when they switched effect off of the Zarya over to the Tracer, I think it'll be interesting when they have Seagull in the lineup. It's like if the Pharah is not working or the Genji's not working, you have effect. He's so good as the Tracer player. It's like, when do you decide to make that change in the middle of a game? You reset two players' ultimates, their build up towards them. I think that'll be something that Envy has to figure out as time goes on.
There's a bit of flexibility in there though as well. If you're a Zarya, obviously
okay, so
the rate at which you generate gravitons,
I'm not allowed to talk to them right now. It's only in between maps. I'm like behind stage with the headset on. I can't tell them anything. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to talk about that clip because I remember this. Now, we weren't really expecting Widow here. We knew it was an option. Like, we definitely knew Taimu can play Widow here. Did play Widow against us in terms here. But like this clip, Seagull gets the credit for this. But he's 80 health before the rocket even hits him. This was Taimu. This was like Taimu, Seagull hit this rocket, hit him at the same time. That's just an unfortunate situation for Buds. Ultimately, it's early enough to where the only issue that comes from this is that A, Taimu has ult, or has like a lot more ult percentage, and B, they're just gonna have position on point. They're not getting any ticks from it. They have enough time to get, they're just saying, all right, back off, get Buds back, and we'll go back into it. This Envious team seems pretty good. I mean, overrated IMO. Okay, so on this map here, like the Pharah duel is going to happen pretty much like the same way every single time. In general, so I'll go back to see if we can get a better angle. You can almost always expect the Pharah to be in one of two positions. Alright, so we'll just use this. Whatever. Alright, so most Pharahs are going to be controlling this section here. And so there's a couple reasons for this. A, you can see the coast. Like you have vision this way and this way, like depending on what side they are, so they can't really sneak up on you as long as you check it every now and then. But more importantly, it's that you don't risk rocket splash from a wall behind you. Like if you notice all of this, walls. You don't risk rocket splash. The third reason is because if you're running a comp with Lucio Mercy, your tanks are going to be taking a lot of damage, and healing means that your Mercy has to get out of position for healing to happen. So if your Mercy has to drop down like to the ground, then like we'll just look at Fanny, for example, here. He's up here. If one of our tanks down here needs healing, like he has to drop down to like here-ish in order to heal. Which means that he's in range of Winston, he's in range of Lucio, he's in range of Diva, depending on what they have. So if you control high ground, it means that your tanks can come up here, and your Mercy doesn't have to drop any height at all to get healing. So that's generally why like this one has more advantage. Now, if it's a good Pharah, and they're playing the opposite side, you can You can work like the backside of this and kind of like rotate up and back over if you need to. And then if you can fly, if your Pharah can keep height well enough, if they're good at the Pharah mechanics, they'll be up here like Buds is, because this is also where you don't risk rocket splash. The downside, like to being attacking on this point with Pharah in this position, is the tank thing I mentioned earlier. So you're really relying on your tanks like staying alive and not just getting. So this is, so the Widow here, like the biggest impact it has is on the first fight. It's kind of tough to defend as Widow, but obviously like the 3 DPS dealers that Envy have are really good. So Time was really good at holding angles.
Opponent is quite compact. The two players obviously in Muma and in Clockwork to try and make things happen in that regard. Seagull's got a lot of
They don't have point yet, which is good for us. Muma's low. This is like kind of what you expect. That like Muma dies first. Muma and Kumat both die by the time Coco dies. Now Buds does get Harry Hook, good, but Eagle does win the duel here. Now that's another thing right there that like is something that a lot of Pharahs don't think about. It's when you're dueling Pharahs. This is actually something that like we talked about it a little bit, and Buds brought up a really good point about Pharah 1v1s. A lot of people will say that if you are higher than the other Pharah, then you have like more of an advantage. Because rockets would either if you're below, your rockets are going to go into the sky. If you're above, your rockets are going to hit the ground. It's a lot easier to get splashed. It's a lot easier to hit shots. People will say from above, but in reality, it's better to be below, because if you hit a rocket, okay, Pharahs are going to do one of two things when they're low health. Either A, they're going to hit their shift and go up, or B, they're going to try to drop straight down and try to like throw you off. So if you're below, if they jump, you don't have to move your camera at all. And if they drop, then they're going to drop like right on you, which means you have a lot easier shots hitting those. Now, the thing that you have to watch out for is that, your height when low, if you're too low, then the tanks can easily kill you. So you just have to make sure that like, if you are below the other Pharah, you're not too low. So this is like, this is good on Seagull. He like conks in, pressures Buds really good, and then like Buds gets hit once and jumps up, which makes Seagull like directly under him, able to get that shot. So we still capped the point though. So that was very good. That's the downside of Widow, like if you're defending the point. But now they have sight. Okay, so this is actually like a huge example. This is a huge example of how banning the scroll wheel really hurt us. Because if Boink can get more momentum on this 1v1 right here, he kills Taimu 10 out of 10 times. But he doesn't. Look, like this is way slower than he is before. Look at his health. He's at 75. That's 2 shots in the melee, and Taimu gets the health back. So we didn't really get to see how. I remember saying we didn't really get to see how Seagull won that Pharah 1v1, but the Concussive Blast was really good. So that was a really good play by Seagull. They have res now. We know that they have res. They know that we have res. We have more beat. Yeah, so this conversation that they're having right now is like they're talking about how you have dominant players in all 3 DPS roles, which is something that is interesting to have to deal with against this new Envy lineup. And I've heard a lot of people say like, where do you start? Who do you focus? If you ignore one, the other 2 are going to kill you. But you can't think like that. Like any team that's going to be facing Envies in the future, you cannot think like that. You have to think like they're any other team, and that you're just playing against a triple DPS team. So in any triple DPS comp, when triple DPS was the meta, if your team just said we're just gonna focus one person and the other two aren't gonna do anything, then like you're approaching the situation wrong. You have to have ways to deal with all of them. So in a comp like this, honestly, like we're pretty confident sending our Lucio just to mess up the Widow if he has to. Like Lucio doesn't really have anyone else to follow other than tanks, or pocketing the Tracer, depending on what it is. Your Tracer can 1v1 the other Tracer if your Tracer's like confident like that. Your tanks, one of your tanks can pressure. Well, there's a lot of options that you have. It's never just, where do you start? You focus one, then you go next. No, you have to be confident in your 1v1 matchups. If your players are not confident taking 1v1s, playing 1v1s, then they need to work on that. They need to work on their confidence. They need to work on their mechanics. They need to work on figuring out how to win 1v1s or even 1v2s. And then you can build your strategies around like, okay, now we're going to send 1v1. Because even if he doesn't win the 1v1, he like takes up their time enough for us to win our 2v1 over here. If someone's in a 1v2, then it's more about them staying alive rather than winning it. Just take up time so that your 2v1 can win it. And stuff like that. You have to think more about this. So just something I thought about when listening to the casters.
You haven't seen this a lot. You haven't seen it at all, quite frank. So you don't even know really where to begin.
Okay, so Buds just took out the Widow. That's something here that if Clockwork, I assume Clockwork lost the 1v1. I guess we can try to look. Well, where's Clockwork even at? I really can't wait till we get better spectating stuff. So hard to like. Clockwork's here. I think that's effect here. Yeah, it's pretty much he's low. Effect takes him out. Yeah. The Clockwork dying there means that we're down rather than being even. But we were calling for the res play. So now what we have to do, since we just got that res play, they have res advantage. We have to kill this Mercy, or we have to kill someone off the map. So like, I wouldn't be surprised if you see our tanks start jumping at this Mercy. Okay, so there it is, right? They pressure Coco out. You basically like give that Mercy the option of you res him and you get a one-man res and try to live, or you die and lose the fight. I don't know why my Streamlabs didn't put that up on screen. Oh, it did. Aha! What's up, man? Thank you for the follow, my dude. Alright, going back to this fight here. They push time out. The thing that kind of bugged me with the spectating was that they just put so much emphasis on following Taimu around. Silly, man. Boink dies. Okay, so we basically just straight up lost it because they used barrier. We didn't have anything to commit.
But his backline is falling very, very quickly. So Envious are navigating around this defense matrix very well. And that's the issue when you dive on a Taimu, right? You saw Muma and Clockwork going back on him. He escapes. And when you dedicate two resources, big resources, to try and take him out, and you don't, you allow Effect, you allow Seagull to just run rampant on the rest of your team. Now the waiting game. Clockwork makes a foray forward. Effect is forced to just jump out there. Won't obviously use a rewind. Has some healing available to him.
Muma doesn't have ult.
Nicely. It's not carried further on towards any other players, but it left Muma very, very low. And that key initiator, that main player to start the fights, is down for FNRGFE. And after the fact, it's just cleanup. See the rocket barrage come in. There'll be Chips bringing Seagull back into the action there with a red.
I mean, this fight's basically just like a DM shit show. And there's not like this one's one of those ones where it's hard to analyze. It's like players had ults and they use them to try to get kills. It really was just DM. This is like really good on Buds to live here. Effect should have hit those shots right there and killed him, but he didn't, and then he misses the pulse bomb. That's good for us. Muma's just trying to stall though, so he dies. We have to commit a single man res, which means now the only thing we have is our primal. They only have primal, and like this is where you see like how good Muma is in these situations. Because he's so good at landing his combos. Like it's insane. And that's why he's like, in my opinion, the best Winston in North America, because of just how good he is at landing those combos. Like he literally kills like it was like 2 or 3 people on his own in this fight, which is like something you don't see Winstons do. Like Winston mechanics are actually really hard to master, and like being able to come back from a res and then kill 2 people, like it's really good. Okay, so this fight becomes the last fight, and so this is like one that we should like talk about beforehand, like what's coming up. The big thing we want to look at are ults. We have Pulse. I can't tell if Coco actually has his or not. We have Beat first. They will also have Beat. So now it's like just a big thing of, okay, let's get a solid Pulse. Let's just focus targets, and our Pharah can't die to McCree or in the 1v1 or 2v2, I guess technically. So this is like a lot of pressure on Buds right now, to not die. So we're up. Effect dies. That's good. So they have Primal. We now have Beat. They're gonna have Beat any second now. So I don't actually remember how we lost this. Oh, hang on a sec. All right, sorry about that. That's the one at the door. All right, where was I? Okay, so we were talking about the last fight. Okay, so we just committed Beat. And so like if you commit Beat, if you commit a support ult like this, you have to get kills off of it. We do get effect. I don't know if that's like a 1v1. I don't actually know how he died. And we get time. So that's like huge for us. Like at this point, we have to win soon. Like our window's closing. We're gonna have res, yeah, but they're gonna have pulse bomb. They're gonna have res. They're gonna have barrage before we do. So Coco's already primaled. That was good. But Coolmat loses mech right there. And now Effect goes crazy. I remember watching this. Like, Effect coming back and getting those picks right there. Like, I think he wins... Hold on, let me go back because I believe he wins a 1v1 versus Clockwork. right here. Here we go. Effect, yeah. This 1v1 right here is like where we lose this fight only because of how good Effect actually is. Like, Clockwork has a health advantage and should not die to this, but Effect gets like a bajillion headshots on him and finishes him off. Gets the healing, comes back, lands a pulse here on the Muma, finishes him off. He literally has 3 kills right now. He's about to get the 4th. Like, this is where Effect just like took over the game. Like, you flip that to where if that's Clockwork winning the 1v1, this is us winning. Now this isn't like, remember like what I said before the map started, that like the tracers have completely different styles. This is where Envy's tracer style works really well. This is why Effect clutches so much, is because he gets put in late game fights where things are just super hectic and super crazy, and it's just like scrambling for the point, and like it's going to come down to mechanics and who positions well and who has the best aim. Effect's going to win those every time. For strategic pushes and like how a map's going to open up and develop, that's where Clockwork's strength is. So it sucks that like that happened. And right here, like Coolmat does the Diva Bomb, but he does it a little too high, and then he lands in the middle before being able to touch the point again. Would have made a difference. Hard to say. Like, he would have touched it, reset it. Clockwork would have come in, touched it, reset it. One of those things where like both those maps were super close. Super close. University's probably our weakest map there, which kind of sucks, but we did practice it a lot. And on University, that big thing was how we used that EMP at the very end, and there it was the Tracer 1v1. So here, like, is when I have it, like, my mic's now unmuted and I can talk to these guys. So that's why they're not saying anything, is because I'm actually talking. I think I was saying something like, hey guys, those maps were really close. Keep your confidence up, keep your levels up. Like, we need to stay mentally in it, mentally focused for this next one. And then we saw that like Mickey was coming on, so I was like, okay, so we know it's Mickey. It's going to be 2-2-2 now, or even like triple tank, depending on what they play. The next map was Eichenwalde. So the reason we picked Eichenwalde, and I'm okay with talking about this now, because you won't like everyone knows, you won't see FNRGFE in its current state in the future. So like I can talk about our philosophies, especially because this was an old patch too. We can talk about why. So Eichenwalde in particular, Buds has a really good Junkrat. Like, he actually is one of the better Junkrats in North America. And we, on Eichenwalde, every time we scrimmed Envy, not every time, almost every time we scrimmed Envy, we full held them on first. And there's like a couple strats that we have for attacking that versus every team have done really well. On our attack, we actually did one of those strats, and we won the first fight. Snowballed first, right through second, and then we got stuffed on second here, if I remember correctly. But like we have actually a really good record on Eichenwalde. We're really comfortable with it, and considering the map pool was Numbani, Eichenwalde, and Hollywood. Numbani, we actually haven't been like super confident on it. It's one of those where like, for the most part, we were pretty comfortable on first. Our streets phase was always kind of rocky, and we always had a lot of trouble closing out Numbani. So like we didn't really want to go there. We wanted to go somewhere where we're more comfortable. Eichenwalde we're more comfortable on. Hollywood, this is a situation where like the way that Blizzard or I don't know who actually decided this. I assume it's Blizzard with the map pool. Changing the map pool for like this one set right here, when you've played the past 6 weeks and the time before Contender started, when you've played it on one map pool, that means that none of these teams have played Hollywood in the past like 2 months. They have no reason to. And so changing it, and like the teams find out, what was it, maybe 1 week before the playoffs actually started, like not many teams are going to be picking Hollywood. I believe it was picked a couple times in the playoffs because some team felt super comfortable on it, whatever. We actually, before we stopped playing Hollywood, we were really comfortable on it. I think we played like a Sombron or something. And we were feeling good on it, but it's been so long that like we didn't really want to put our eggs in that basket. Of course, we practiced it before we came in case we had to play it. But like the no-brainer for us was Eichenwalde. We're super confident on that map, super comfortable. One of the debates that I hear people talk about a lot is whether or not you want to pick a map that your opponent's weak at, or if you'd rather pick a map that you feel really confident, really strong in. And so both sides have the merit. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going to say one side makes more sense than the other. The big thing, though, is that in a case like this, Envy is a good enough team that can adapt well enough that they have a couple maps that they're weak on, but they're just really solid players regardless of map. But we wanted to go to one that we're feeling confident on. We just lost a heartbreaker where both maps were 99.99. We could have won them. Like we kind of threw in the last fight on both of them. So we want to go somewhere where we're confident, where we feel good, and that we know that we can execute well. That's why we picked Eichenwalde. Let's kind of move ahead. Where we start.
Dude, I got phased in the next match. 2 of their players have Yeezys.
They all have Yeezys.
You don't. You gotta find people who get them for you, and then they just pay.
So Eichenwalde, I think we ended up attacking first. Most teams actually pick defense first. Like if they choose, the way it worked was like if you didn't choose the map, you choose the side, and it's all pre-selected beforehand. You get like a sheet you fill out. You say, if it goes to this map, I want this side first. If I choose like what map's next, then I want this map, that sort of thing. And you have to submit your sub rosters as well. Like Envy, one of those, that's something that like Envy wouldn't be able to decide to sub Seagull in like based on how the set was going. They had to submit that all beforehand, which we liked. I think that's a pretty fair way to deal with subs going forward. But yeah, so our attack here, this is like a very specific attack that we did. And this is actually exactly what we expected from Envy. The possibilities where maybe you run Effect on Zarya, maybe you run Mickey on Zarya, but you expect the Junkrat, you expect the McCree. And so our strategy here is going to be, we do this thing where we speed out the right door and like speed through the right side before they have any idea where we're going. So you're going to see like these guys speed this way. Imove actually puts a trap on this ramp here. I'm not really sure why. I don't think we've ever like off the top of my head, I don't think we've ever like played on that ramp here. But how this fight's going to develop here. All right, so if this is a good angle to explain it. All right, so here this will be fine. So going into this fight, here's the strat. You see, we have a 5-1 split. Our team's going to push through here, and from here we have 2 options. Okay, either A, we go option. This is actually like our second option, but we'll say first option is we push here and take their attention away this way. So this means that Envy is going to be looking and turning this way. Or B, we have the option of going up the stairs and wrapping around and coming down a point. Now, why we went this way with it, where they just pushed through past the car, is that when everyone turns, when Envy turns, that's when Buds is going to go in. Okay, Buds goes in and gets free access to the back line. With one Junkrat left click and one mine, he can kill any non-tank hero. So like that's the strategy. Go in, we're going to create space, Buds is going to get a kill or 2, and then we're going to push on and clean up the fight from there. But here, like, splitting attention. All right, boom, we're in, and now we go. Diva's going to turn. I don't actually know why Banny was back here. He got pushed out. And then now, that actually, I didn't even realize, that actually was a botched. All right, hold on. Let me go back. This actually was kind of like a botched push here. Think about it. I went too far. Well, okay, we'll watch it again. All right, so he's going to get the orb. You're going to go here. Buds is here. They're going to start splitting attention. Everyone turns. Coco just uses charged Actually, Banny gets a nutty pick. I don't even realize that. Banny just popped off right there. So everyone's turned. Everyone is now looking at them. Buds is completely free, which he actually didn't even have to flank because we had 2 picks already. So, hey, I mean, it worked out. But that was what the plan is supposed to be. It's supposed to split attention, and then Buds gets free reign from the back line. The way Envy positioned just kind of worked out for us. So we get the first one, and now we're pushing on a second. So here, like, this is like a tough choice. So in most scenarios, what you want to do is you want to immediately get castle control. Because if you can prevent them from taking castle, if you can stuff them at their door, and you get free cart push for a pretty long time. Now we killed a lot of their guys early, which is the dilemma. This is where the dilemma comes. So we know that they are likely going to try to take a fight here. They're going to try to take a fight right here when the gate's opening, because from the time that the point gets capped to the time that the cart gets there, they have enough time to set up and look for a fight. Time was on Widow, so we know that he's just going to try to take high ground and snipe from a safe distance. You can hit that door from a plethora of sight lines, and we have a Junkrat. So one of those where we're expecting their tanks to come in, and we're going to engage on those tanks and try to kill them before the Widow has line of sight on. So that's the plan. That's why we're not like hard pushing forward. Whether or not it was the right call, you can decide. Here we go. Like, we had all 6, which my philosophy is, if we're all going to commit to a call, I'd rather that happen and us fail it than us not commit to a call because we disagree about something. So, like, it scares Envy off enough to where we can get the cart through the door. However, Buds dies to Mickey there because we are split. And then now Muma's on an adventure in the back line, just killing the back line. I think we actually end up winning this fight and getting through, and it was fine, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So this is where we have to be taking forward positioning now. We have to. Like, we have to either control castle, we have to hard push on their door. We didn't do it fast enough, so now we're gonna have 3 on cart. Buds ended up having to like rotate out of castle, get back. Kumat didn't even have his mech back, so they can just re-engage with a nano attack. Like, Kumat died before we could trance. Kind of sucks. Now we're going into this next fight. We still have ults, so as long as like knowing it's staggered right here, we can still win the next fight. Clockwork's in position, getting pushed. Coco just ulted, which is good for us. But Boink died. I'm not really sure how. So this tack right here, not the greatest tack. 2 reasons. A, he's just shooting a shield. B, there's a Diva there as well. This is before Diva's Matrix is nerfed. This tack's not really doing anything except drawing attention. Which in this case, in some cases, this tack's fine. In some cases, this is okay. This is a fine play. There's no reason not to do it. But in this scenario, tack is our win condition. Like, we have to win with kills from tack, or we're not going to win this fight. So, Boink dying with beat as well. This just kind of means like this. I believe we lose this fight, and with good reason. The only thing Tack got was the Diva mech after a Matrix ran out. Not the best for us. Like, kind of sucks that that's the case. But that's one of those where, like, Clockwork probably watched this VOD on his own and was like, alright, like, he probably should have put more emphasis on setting up that tack. That's something that I see a lot of soldiers do, is like, either they just pop it reactively, they're like, oh, I need to attack in this fight, I gotta go. Or, they don't see all the conditions, and like, they don't have their team to tell them like not to, because they pop it too soon without voicing their intentions. Tack is something that Okay, so let me pause this because I want to finish my point, but not lose out on this. Tack is one of those things that nowadays, Tack isn't used to hard win fights. Before the meta became Winston Diva, back when it was like Rogue Selfless, it was triple DPS. It was triple DPS dive, and Tack was an easy win condition because you didn't have anything to block it except a Winston bubble or Winston in your face. And so people would use Tack as like, we're gonna win off this fight, or if there's like a nano blade, you're gonna attack to counter the blade. And so it's one of those things where over time, as Diva came in to stop the soldiers from doing much, Tack just kind of fell off in North America as like the game-winning ult. I think in Europe, Tack's used a lot more like we're going to win off this fight, probably because the Diva play isn't as good. And so this is like just a bad habit on our part as like something that North America does now, which I imagine will be changing soon in the future with the new meta. Anyway, this fight comes forward. We just beat it in Primal. We ended up winning it. They now don't have ults. Do they have Diva Bomb? I don't know. They are going to have Diva Bomb and Shatter. So. Bud's chased Effect down there, which, like, I don't know. That's a good position for Effect to take against the Tracer because it's like the Tracer can't surround you. It's a hallway. That's like Effect got the ample position, won the 1v1, and then they're able to get high ground, and he's able to kill Clockworks. Bud's dying there was very bad. What we should have done is left one on either, like, push forward and meet Effect at these stairs, or just let him go and then find time to re-engage him later. Losing Buzz is probably one of the worst things that could have happened in that situation. Now Buzz is going to be looking for a pulse bomb kill, which he does get Harry Hook. So that's actually pretty good for us because now they don't have beat. We get Effect, but the cart's not moving at all. They're hard holding this cart. Hook about to have Shatter. I don't think he'll use it. Yeah. So now we have push on cart. This is where Taimu is still up, so we need to pressure Taimu, but we also need to pressure doors. So this is like in under normal situations, I think it's fine for him in position here, but I think what he should have done is like body block a door. So I don't really know how Banny died there, but because we didn't stuff the doors, they get out there for free. It hits a huge Shatter, which Diva Bomb doesn't get anything, but they just kind of win. They just win it off a Shatter and off of us being too split. So our mistake is not pressuring the door and body blocking it to make sure they come out. We put a lot of emphasis on killing Taimu because he was out there. We could have either ignored him or just sent like one, but we needed to pressure one of the doors. That's something that like Muma probably kicks himself for. And like 9 times out of 10, Muma's going to position himself on top of one of those ledges because, you know, if you're one of those Winstons that can win those fights, then you'll see him take that. If you're not like just a space Winston. Now we're committing ults. They use beat. They use nano. We actually survived through the Rhine up there pretty good. And now Moon was popping off. There's no reason why we shouldn't win this fight. But they don't realize Mickey's... Okay, I remember this. Because they're so focused on the tire. And like... When you're watching us on stream, you can't tell that the tire's coming. All people are seeing is Mickey stalling the cart, which obviously is a bad thing. But right now, the biggest issue is that if that tire kills us, then we lose. So like, they're putting all their emphasis on stalking this tire. What should have happened was everyone focus the tire. Wank needs to realize someone's contesting right here, and needs to stop it. Like so, tire gets killed. They realize Mickey's there, they kill him. And again, we don't stuff the door. Effect gets to stop it. Like, there we go. Alright, so you get into third. This is good for us. Muma immediately swaps Rhine. That's normal. You expect that. Clockwork on McCree. So now depending, so this is where like you're gonna see teams swap like soldiers to McCrees. You'll see tracers generally swap off here on offense to like Junkrats. Yeah. McCree Junkrat is the common thing. Coco just kind of wasted his ult there, but Mickey's like a big charge. Good, he needs to kill him here. That was a really good fight by us. We won it. It was no ults really on our side. I think, well, other than the shatters, or the one shatter. That's fine. Now we're pushing up. We have 1 minute left. We have our chance. We have our pulse. They don't have anything. So Clockwork, ideally, like Clockwork's gonna have one of two options. I'm sorry, Bud's gonna have one of two options. He's currently on top. Either A, like he's gonna see their Ana trying to heal from a distance, and he's gonna double blink pulse bomb, or we're gonna get Rhine to where he's in pulse bomb dying range. That's where like you're gonna see Bud's going to try to get that pulse, and Vanny is probably like there's nothing that we really need to save trance for, other than like if he gets like a crazy grav, you know. But there's not really anything that he has to save trance for, like a blade or attack or something. But he's probably just gonna get his Discord out, his healing orb out, trance, and just try to win the fight off this when he's low. So here we go. You know, let's see. Like our focus targets need to be on. Right now we're all kind of shooting different things. Bud's used pulse and ends up dying to Taimu. It's 5v5. This is really favors the defense now as we're backing up. Muma dying to Tire. Not good. Now we have 30 seconds. We have to win this fight off of, you know, Shatter, Diva Bomb, or something. So Bud's actually swaps to Zarya, which is more of like you want a Zarya on this point because it does so much damage. But Kumat has the Diva Bomb in its last fight. It makes more sense to try to make a playoff bomb. Clockwork dying here is like one of the worst things that can happen to us. He dies to spam, which is so bad. That's so bad for us. And then now we just kind of get like pushed down because we have a Zen rather than an Ana. We have a Zen with triple tank, which is not very good because our swaps end up going that way. Like this is kind of where like we committed to having a Diva Bomb rather than a Zarya, and so we got stuck on Zen with triple tank, which you don't want to do. So overall, like we're actually pretty happy with that offense, even though we didn't cap. Like that's something like that's an offense that you can be proud of. A lot of teams don't even get it into third, especially a lot of our results are, you know, we're holding them on first. We're doing these pushes really well. So we're happy with that one. Now we just need to focus on executing our first and second really. Which I do remember that Envy rolled through first point. I don't remember how. I think it was that. I think I remember we ended up like taking a fight at a weird angle that we normally don't do, which I think is like land nerves. If I remember correctly.
The switch up was good as well. Nice to see Zarya in that last stage, and this is something that we've seen teams do for quite some time actually. On their final points of maps, when you can bring the Reinhardt, take Route 66 for example, Numbani, slow the pace of the game down, play a little bit more controlling. And now it's time for Envious to see if they can finish the map. That's all they have to do.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, like we either want to hard hold that choke or back up to point and take it by one of these, but we end up taking it too early. So I'll break it down when we get there. I believe Banny actually like he didn't line this up correctly, and he just kind of like randomly threw it. It hit too early. Yeah, looking at these comps, Junkrat is so used on first. We definitely knew that they'd be running Junkrat. We definitely knew they'd be running Tracer. We weren't sure that they'd be running Winston. I think that one kind of caught us off guard. We did talk about them being able to run Ryan Winston. I think we were expecting the Zarya, or even the Diva, just because it's so good at dealing with Junkrat. I don't know if this is like an adaptation they made to deal with us specifically, or if it's like you know, something that they found works well against Junkrats, or something that they just like on this point. I'm not really sure. Yeah, so we're just going to be spamming.
On this defense, obviously you saw his Zenyatta was actually what broke Envious apart on that first attack, and they're going to walk it up on in Envious.
Yep, here. Okay. So this is where we made our mistake. I need to see where Taimu is. Can't actually. Yes. Okay, he's over here on point now. Okay. So let's get our. So normally, like if they're gonna be running through choke like that, you need to meet them at choke. Either here, like this is option 1, or you need to meet them here, or at this choke here, and you take, and your support takes house, right? So you back up and you basically have 2 spots. If you're engaging here or here on the car, this is like, this favors the offense because they have this cover, and they have this bridge, they have this cover, and offense is going to have like way more opportunity to kill you than the defense does. So our call to engage on them was too late. We needed to engage on basically on any of the yellow spots, but not in any of the pink spots. We engaged on a pink spot. Thanks for the follow, man. So us engaging on the pink spot was like guaranteed us losing this fight. And we actually talked about that beforehand. Like normally, under normal circumstances, in most scrims, in most matches that we actually play here, we engage on number 1. We engage them at the bridge. We don't give them space. Like they backed up really well. Like the way that NV sped back and protected their Ana in this is like top notch. Their Ana is not going to be pressured at all because of the angle that we're pressuring them from, because of where we engaged. And you also have effect on the high ground, where he's basically like uncontested and has us from the side. So we either have to go up and contest him ourselves, which would require our diva to go up and get him, or our Junkrat to like mine up and try to 1v1 him, which neither of those things make sense because we're facing against a Junkrat, and you know our Junkrat's putting the pressure on theirs. So overall, this fight's lost because of where we took the fight. Yeah. So both teams actually cap first in the first push. Like I said before, normally we dominate the first point, but we took that awkward fight, and it basically just was us throwing. So this here, like, people are like, this is honestly what we probably should have done. Like, Buds should have pushed up here on his offense. The big thing here wasn't like a crazy play from Taimu. This is Clockwork not checking his corners, right? We just lost first. They're probably like a little rattled in comms. They're probably like, oh crap, like, you know, we screwed up that point. Let's just get in position for a second. Let's focus on holding choke. And so he just runs through without checking his corners. Taimu gets the left click mine and then throws the mine and hits Banny. So, you know, pretty good play. Like, I wouldn't say this is like some crazy, like, filthy mechanical outplay. It looked cool. It looked cool. I'll give you. This was just us not like checking our corners. It's something that we have to do. We absolutely have to. And so now that we lost them and we don't have pressure, they're going to get through the first choke for free. It's really bad for us. Now we're fighting to get out of this choke while they have one on cart, which we eventually do. I believe we do actually end up getting back and holding this for a little while. Yeah, like we're focused on stalling point now. This is the thing, like, this fight is destined to lose. They have the ult advantage. It's like a 3v5. We're just trying to like stall that as long as possible for us to try to get a regroup. And I think Effect gets a kill here. And I remember being in the back being like, come on, no one checked this.
His pulse is ready with movement down and Bud's being dropped.
So they're just so low. Like that fight just gets so staggered. We didn't go out structured at all. Like this is where like we're staggered and we're rattled, and we just need to like reset, mentally reset, focus on taking a clean fight. That's like everybody that comes out here, that's their idea, is like, oh, I just got to stall long enough for our team to group and reset, you know. But it ends up being, if everyone's doing that, no one's going to reset and regroup. So we just completely lost second due to a series of events that was entirely our fault. Here they're gonna come back. We're gonna swap to Junk Ryan. I believe Comat's gonna swap to Zarya. Clockwork probably will swap to McCree. Yeah. Fanny basically has transfers and reads for him to swap. So as long as we're running 2-2-2, then it's fine. Ideally we play Anna here. Kuma has bomb, so he keeps it. This is fine. So now this is just like the shit show, Junkrat versus Junkrat close quarter type thing. It's gonna be like who lands the best tire, lands the best spam. Fanny getting shattered and dying with trance, not very good. So like that whole chain of events is like first fight, bad engage on us. First point. Second point was us getting staggered because we didn't do things correctly. Like we pushed out without checking corners, and then we just staggered. Oh, we actually. I don't even hold on. I thought that we lost it here. Okay. Go back. How did we save it? Because Clockwork stalls, and then Banny touches France. Clockwork getting that kill is really good. And Banny just kills Chips. Kumak comes out on Tracer, kills Mickey. Feels good. Okay. This is good. Like, we finally get a hard reset. We get Zarya. Banny is probably, he's going back to swap to Anna now. Now we have our comp. They don't have ults. We don't have ults. Now it's just a matter of like playing well. Look, we have Deadeye. I don't know if it's really something great. It's really just going to be about like who's going to land the best spam. Yeah, I remember this in comms because they were like, "Oh, Trader's over there. Just wait there. She's gonna come up there." And so Clockwork just camped behind and killed her. And then because Beck's dead, we can put all of our focus on the Rhine, and then bully him out. They push back. Now we reset. So we've seen Reaper a couple times. He didn't stick with it, which like I think is actually smart because Junkrat kind of shits on him. Soldier, you know. Soldier McCree, either one is fine. Okay, I remember this. Okay, so this is actually where Envy wins because this tire is really good. But this is like actually a really good play by Envy with this tire here. I'm thinking of a different tire. Just kidding. All right, ignore me. I think we win this fight. I think we win this. Yeah, Muma doesn't die here, which was huge. Banny manages to keep him alive. And Ulmat gets the grab and lives. Like, that was clutch from Banny with the heals. That's clutch. It's the next bomb that loses us, because that nano gets him, like, so much charge that he's going to hit this bomb. Or hit this tire. Now they have, like, 3 ults. We're worried about a shatter. I don't think we realized that he had a tire, if I remember correctly. Because we knew that he nanoed, but it's something like, you know, you don't expect. Yeah, right here. Okay, so he goes to the side, fakes it in here. So we're thinking, okay, it's on the right side. Or for us, it would be our left side. It's going to be on the left. We're looking for, like, is it going to cross over? Is it going to push up the walls over us? Like, you're waiting. So he hides in this corner and then gets it to the cart. And we actually don't see it get to the cart. So that's either, like, us. I don't really know how we didn't see that, to be honest with you. I think that's kind of lucky that we didn't see it get to the cart. And then here, boom. So, like, the reason we don't see it come over the cart like that, like, if you look, is actually like really good on Coco and Harry Hook, because Harry Hook literally jumps up here. Everyone's going, Lucio's feeding. What the fuck's he doing? And then this tire just comes around the cart and kills, because we're expecting it from the left side. He gets our attention, and he gets like our tanks. So our tank's dead. We have no pressure on point. They're just going to win off this. So to recap, we have a second. First fight on offense for us was really good. We executed our play fairly well. They didn't react to it like we expect them to, but they reacted pretty poorly. We got first fight well. We didn't end up stuffing the doors on second. We ended up like focusing on, basically would be like the counter to their play rather than setting up our own play, which actually ended up working. But it set us up for the next fight to not have positioning. So they're able to win the next fight on offense, and it takes us a long time to get through second, and then we just end up losing the fight on third. So on defense, our first fight was us taking it in the wrong zone. The wrong fight zone, we took it in between. We had to either take it earlier at the choke or pull back and do it later. Our main goal was to do it earlier, but for some reason we didn't. They steamrolled the first fight. Second fight, we didn't clear corners. We didn't check. So Taimu gets 2 kills for free. And now I have no clue what I'm saying there. Oh, this is funny. Like, you saw Banny wiping his face there. He actually like takes a drink of water. Like those cups that they have, those are the only cups that they're allowed to use on stage. Blizzard gave them to us. And he drinks water, puts it down, and it splashes in his face. So he takes his shirt and like tries to dry it off. And in doing so, knocks a little nose guard off his glasses, and it falls. So then they're like trying to find this nose guard for his glasses, and then like they find it and they're trying to get it back on. That was a nice little meme. Okay, the last one, we took it to Anubis. We had a quick little break. After 2 maps, you're allowed to come backstage, like go to the bathroom, do what they need to do. We had a quick little talk about like, committing to the fights, just making sure like we stay confident, we play our game. We talked about Anubis, what we were gonna play. And so like in a position, if you're the coach and your team's down 0-2, the first one was like super close game. Second one was us not playing it properly. What I'm telling my guys right now is like, look, one of the things that I've hammered into them all season long is focusing on what's next. And I use that as like keywords. What's next, what's next, what's next. So if something comes up, if we screw up, if a fight doesn't go our way, immediately the only thing that matters, the only thing we're focusing on is what's next. Not why we screwed up, not how they outplayed us. It's what's next. What are we doing next? So I was talking about this, the big thing is that they stay confident. A lot of times in like tournament settings, if we lose a heartbreaker like the first one, and then the second one we kind of get rolled because of dumb decisions, like the guys are going to be like in the, like they're going to be in their own heads. And that's like what I have to prevent them from being in their own heads and losing confidence and just playing completely uncharacteristically. That's like my goal right now backstage is just, hey, let's keep them calm, let's keep them focused. The only thing that matters is next game. It doesn't matter like what comes after, it doesn't matter what happened. We're focused on the now. It's my job to worry about what happened. It's their job to focus on what's next. All right. So attacking Anubis, ended up playing the Genji first, which like, so talk about like why we picked Anubis over Volskaya. When we played against them on Volskaya in the regular season, we got full held on first, which the full hold was our fault. It wasn't really like Envy playing super well. We didn't execute our plans like we wanted to. I personally thought that we should go to Volskaya still. But we decided to go to Anubis because we're also pretty comfortable on this map. And we've done pretty well on Anubis overall. It's something that like we could have done. We could have won this. I think at this point, like, we're playing Genji here, which, if you followed us, notoriously we're not that great at Genji comps. Like, it's not that Bud's the bad Genji by any means. It's that we didn't sink a lot of time into making our Genji comps work well. We were more focused on making sure our soldier play was good, our Pharah play was good, our Junkrat play was good, because you can take most maps without needing Genji. You know, I remember this, like, this bomb, like, there's no reason that we died to that. That was kind of dumb. They called out, oh, the trap's right here, and then Boink goes to kill it, like, while Banny's killing it, and he touches it with when it has like 1 health, so he gets trapped, and then eats, like, the shot that would have killed it, he gets healed by Banny instead of it dying, and then, like, Clockwork gets hit, and then the mine goes off and kills him. It was just like, you know, now Taimu has 40% because we just fucked up, and like that hurts morale really bad when something like that happens. That's like something that you have to think about. It's like, these guys are now dealing with that on their mind, like, oh, we're up. So here you basically have a couple options on how you're going to attack the point. We knew that they weren't going to play Sombra on first. We did expect them to play Sombra on second, but not first. So there's no reason to, like, hard engage that health pack room. Really, we just want to bring it to point, force them to come back to us on point, and take the fight as we see fit. So, you know, Envy's not set up, we know that, so we're taking position where we can. Muma's gonna go behind. Like, ideally he goes behind and, like, finds a flank, but they see him because they're in the middle of resetting. He doesn't get any kills. Clockwork gets him, which is good. So now we're going to be looking for a nano play, which we didn't have time to wait for a blade, so we put it on Moon, who uses it really well. And he, like, basically pushes out 3 people just by jumping it. He ends up killing one, then on the re-engage he kills the other one. But he took first pretty well. Like, overall, even though we died that stupid trap situation at first, like, we took first well. We're pretty happy with that. Now it's going, okay, right now, like, what we're trying to do is we need to get there so they don't get this pack. That's the next one. And I remember in comms we had, like, a little bit of, like, oh, they're not swapping. Oh, they just swapped. It's going to be Chips. No, it's going to be Taimu. Like, we knew that, like, it could be either. We were expecting it to be Taimu. We were expecting, like, we think it's going to be Taimu, then that they're going to play double support with the EMP. So, like, right now we're trying to get there. But if I remember correctly, yeah, gets it off somehow. Muma didn't either, like, wasn't in range, but they shouldn't have had this pack. And so now we're, like, overextended without a reason. And so we're waiting for our supports to get in position. We're having to eat our matrix now. Like, now we have to, like, back off and reset and get ready, and they're already going to have 20% ult on their EMP. So now it's like, okay, reset, heal up, look for the next play. We have ults. We're going to look to beat first because we know that they don't have EMP. So here we're going to all go together, and I believe we end up, we get the beat. Yeah, like, that blade, he's going for the supports, but the supports end up, like, Harry dies and Chips makes it into the spawn. So that actually, like, fucks Buds really hard that Harry dies. Because ideally, like, he gets a hit, like, either he kills Harry and, like, is able to dash and kill Chips before he gets in spawn, or he can turn and dash over to the soldier, but, like, overall that ended up not happening. So now it's like, fuck, the blade's wasted. We end up swapping to shotguns, which is pretty common actually. I'm running shotguns and, like, what you do is you pressure someone, get them low. When they go for the pack, you hard engage on the pack and kill them on the pack. So that's like basically what we did with the Diva right there. But we lost our Reaper. We're so split. Moon was the only one on point. We don't even get a tick. Like this, you know, we just wasted Nano. That's like, that's pretty bad. And we beat on the way out. Like we're trying to re-engage with this beat, and it's like a really awkward fight. So like our goal should have been like we needed to identify where that Zen is and kill him before trance. Like we're a good enough team that we knew they had trance. We knew like they're not going to have EMP yet. They'll probably get it late in the fight. So we need to kill the trance. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Kill the trance, then you can focus the monkey or the Diva and just try to win like off focuses. But you know, and kill him before the trance can be effective. If he has to trance on a re-engage, then it's not going to be like a 5 or 6 man trance. It's going to be like his trance going to save the point. But we don't end up killing him there. We end up re-engaging with an awkward beat because they wanted to use it before the EMP gets back, and it just kind of falls apart for us. If that makes sense. Like if I didn't explain that well, because I know that was kind of like a cluster, let me know. I'll re-explain it. But now, like this sucks for us. We're in a crappy position because we just use ults. They're having ults come up. And they're going to have EMP, which means we have to take at least like 2 more fights before we can take a really good one, because we go in a hard dry fight here. We're not, you know, we may be able to build our Reaper ult, but like he dies right away with that EMP. So now we're going to have Blade. Either A, we take this fight and go for a Blade win, right? We know they don't have support ults. We know they don't have EMP. So we take this fight with a Blade and try to win off it right now. Or what we do is like go in for another dry fight, build more ults. They get an EMP on the next fight. And then we have to take another fight with EMP then. So we'll be 3 fights out. This is like the dilemma that you face with Sombra right now on 2CP. This is why 2CP kind of sucks. Because you're dealing with these number of things. The effect actually hits that bomb. Which now it's like, you know, we don't want to commit, which sucks. Like we lose, and so we have to back out, and they haven't used anything. We didn't really build much. We built a little bit. They didn't use anything. Now they have EMP, which is bad. Like this is bad. So now they have like those 3 ults. The EMP alone is enough to like stop a push. So our choice now is, do we push in dry and then take a fight at 1 minute left, or do we go for a win here? So it pretty much ends up being the EMP early. That decision's made for us. Like now it's just like, okay, we need to get out and don't do any damage. Don't let Chips get any ult charge. And so the max he's gonna get is 30 something, probably close to 40 after he heals. So this is like, now we have to win this fight. We absolutely have to. We have 5 ults. We'll probably get Winston ult mid-fight. The worst thing that can happen to us is we get randomed, or effect, like lands a huge bomb. So, like we're trying to play split. We get Mickey, but somehow Muma dies that. I remember this. Muma dies that somehow, which is really bad for us. So now effect just has free reign to just hit that pulse bomb, kills 2. Clockwork uses Reaper ult to try to like, because he wasn't expecting that to happen. Boink uses beat. Like now we're going in. Next fight, we have no choice but the Nano Blade, which they have a beat for. So like it's extremely unlikely that we win this next fight. So our main goal is like, let's just like, if we can kill that Lucio before he gets the beat off, then you know, that's how we win. Like we have to do that. We have to get as much percentage on this as we can. So it's, you know, they need to pressure our Genji or our Ana, and so they're gonna pressure our Ana first. They use the beat. They use the EMP. We actually like get our Nano Blade off. They didn't get anything with it. So like you couldn't really see what happened, and I have no idea what happened. But our Nano Blade failed. We lose this fight. Now it's over. So ultimately, like, it comes down to us fucking up our pushes and not using ults correctly. And then Sombra. Eddie managed to be so attractive and skilled at video games at the same time. I'm a natural, and it's very hard work being the best. You know, I just have a really sexy body, and yeah, I believe in the corn dog. Okay, defense. Okay, so the things that we know. Those great jeans. She didn't buy me any jeans, puppy. I got my own jeans. So what we know from Envy, you know they're gonna have Tracer Widow. Just do. And they have Mickey in, which means they're gonna be running Diva. This comp is like an easy read. We know exactly what they're gonna play. Now normally we don't run Sombra on first. We have before in the past. But we felt it was necessary. Like, if you run Sombra on first and you don't have as much pressure on first, it means that like you're trying to build as much EMP as possible to focus on hard winning the fight for second. Which, you know, there's arguments either way as to whether that's good or bad. Realistically, like, it's fine. You can still win with Sombra on first. You just have to make sure you play around the packs. The megas on this point are hard to play around on first. So it ends up being like you have to play around minis, which means that you don't get as much ult generation, but you're set up better for seconds. So now it's like, okay, don't get picked by Taimu. Like, don't give him any sight lines. We're gonna play angles and hard to hit him at choke. So we're off to the sides. You don't give Taimu any room. We're just watching Taimu, by the way. Nice meme. Like, there's another one of those situations where Boink, you could see like the way he was jumping, he was gonna try to contest Taimu, but because the scroll wheel was banned, like he knew he wasn't gonna have enough momentum and got stuck. So I think we actually end up winning this fight because Envy's so split that we end up like winning the 2v2, and they try to get out. This was actually out. Bud's right here. Yeah. So we won this fight. Now we have EMP. This is the choice that, like, when you have Sombra now on this fight, the question is, do you commit your EMP to try to win this fight? If you do and you fuck it up, you're fucked for second. If you do and win, then, you know, now you've burned a lot of time. Hopefully you've burned ults. And like, you have to be in the mental state to be ready to start building those ults again right away, and be ready like to get the pack on second. He actually gets stoned by chips, which I didn't. Sucks. So now this is like, it's all as long as possible. We want to get our Sombra back, and then we'll assess and decide if we need to. Otherwise, don't commit any other ults. Like, it's fine to commit Pulse Bomb. You get it so fast, it's not a big deal. But they used Primal, and we didn't use our EMP. One of them uses Pulse, so overall it's like, this is fine. This is why we picked Sombra. So now Banny is, he's going to be getting the pack on second right away. This is his first job. He needs to get the pack before anyone on Envy gets there, so that, you know, we can hold second well. And now it's down to how well can we land this EMP. We have to be careful not to overuse ults here. We have 5. The worst thing we can do is EMP, Blade, Bomb, Primal, Beat. Like, if we use all of those, we're fucked. Like, right now, they use the trance before the EMP. We counter with a Beat, and then we EMP. The downside is that EMP hits Zen in trance. It doesn't hit the Lucio. So now their support ults are effective when they shouldn't have been. And now we've already committed our Blade, our Primal, and our Beat. Now we have nothing, and they win. So we overused ults, and we fucked up our EMP, which is how we lost that second one. So overall, like if you look back at everything, Oasis could have gone either way. Both were extremely close. Eichenwalde was us making stupid mistakes, and then Anubis, you know, if you don't manage your ults well, that's what happens. Overall, like, you think about FNRGFE as a whole. The team came together at the beginning of June. It was a little before June. GFE had just gotten dropped. Fnatic had just gotten dropped. I had actually just gotten dropped from TSM. So, like, these guys are, like, screaming on their own time. Cool Matt wasn't with them. It was Enigma. They make this team, like, a week before Contenders 0 starts. And so, their thought process is, let's just play for Contenders. Like, at that time, everyone who wasn't on a team or one that got dropped was like, oh, hey, let's make a Contenders team. Let's just try. Let's do something. At the time, I believe I was actually trialing for Renegades at the time. And I worked with Renegades during when Renegades qualified for Season 0. That was when I was working with I ended up moving away from Renegades and coming to FNRGFE after week 1, in between week 1 and 2. And so here we are. It's like a team of 6 dudes and a coach that had all just gotten dropped. And like the goal was, let's do as good as possible. If Overwatch League stuff comes up, like that's our priority. If, ideally we'd like to get paid, we'd like to get signed, but it's not like our priority. Like our priority is we want to get as much exposure and do as well as we can. And hey, we fucking made it to Season 1 playoffs. They beat Selfless, they beat the NRG roster. And you think about a lot of these teams that we beat, like we kind of killed these teams. Like we beat Selfless. DeFran had gotten banned. They had Carpe at the time. Like we beat them and they died. And we beat NRG and that team died. Like I'd say FNRG if he had a good run, I expect, I think Muma said it on stream, what we're going to do, Carbon doesn't know exactly what's going to happen with the Contenders spots yet, if I recall correctly. And our plan is, assuming we have a spot for Season 2, anyone that doesn't get on Overwatch League team, like their priority for what they want to do with that spot, if they want to make a team, if they want to just give it away, whatever, like that's their spot, we'll give it to them. Whether, if like a coach doesn't make it or one of the players, like it's their team. If everyone gets signed, everyone has a place, then we'll give it to Enigma. I know Enigma's interested in like making some kind of team and just playing. And if not, then we'll figure out what to do. I personally would like to see FNRGFE stick around, just the team. Even if it's a brand new roster or something, if that happens and like everyone gets signed, which I hope so. I'd love, like, every single person on this team, including the coaching staff, is worthy of being in Overwatch League. I hope to see everyone get signed. And if they do, then I would love to see, FNRGFE stay. Like, the logo's kind of a meme, but the community loves it. And like, people are going to remember, like, the group of guys that got together and like showed their old orgs, the orgs that gave up on them. We went out and beat all the other teams that had resources. Like, think about, no one was paid. There wasn't a team house. Everyone's playing on different time zones, different pings. Like, we had to pay so much money out of pocket just to make this land work. And we did it, man. I'm like super proud of the run that we had. So anyway, that's the review for our match. I actually kind of like doing it like this, where I remembered bits and pieces, but I didn't like do a hard review beforehand. I thought that was pretty cool. I plan to do Envision versus FaZe tomorrow, and then FaZe versus Envy either Sunday or tomorrow night after that. It just kind of depends. But I do need to eat, and I got some stuff I got to work on my own time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys liked it. if you guys ever have like any questions on this stuff, I'm super open to it. I love talking about the game. I love analyzing the game. I love coaching. So I'm big on like coaching people, not just coaching Overwatch. So if you ever have any questions, hit me up. Hope you guys have a good night, and thanks again for tuning in.